Pistons are winning despite their starting lineup being less than spectacular on offense. I'm liking Monty's rotations. I spoke about that earlier on the podcast. I love how he gets Alec Burks early in the game because lineups with Alec Burks, they perform so much better offensively. So the starting lineup, and I saw this from Sam Vecini, and I looked it up myself. I don't really know how to read numbers that well, but I'm someone that's listening to this can interpret it better than me. But the starting lineup of Cade, Killian Asar, Stu, and Jalen Duren, I think they've played a total of like 40 minutes together. Their defensive rating is 106. Their offensive rating is 95. Their net is minus 10.9. And then when you have Burks in the lineup with Asar, Cade, Isaiah Stewart, and Jalen Duren, the defense is 76. The offense is 137, and the net rating is plus 60. But I think they've only played a combined like 12 minutes together or something like that during the season. So my question is, do you guys think this is the starting lineup long-term for the Pistons, or do you think changes are going to happen?
I think most definitely we're going to see a change eventually. I just want to say this, which a lot of people might find interesting. I actually prefer that Ivy would have started at 2 next to Cade. And the reason why is because, just like you were just mentioning, he could provide some offense when you need that offense out there. He has been playing defense. I prefer Killian with the second unit simply because you have a better option of shooters out there, which he feeds guys. So, and also he could be a stabilizer on that second unit, especially when it comes to turning over the basketball. So, I wouldn't have had a problem with that. But I can also see why Monty Williams said, hey, I'm going to start Killian. He had a great camp. But defensively, he's a bigger guard. He likes bigger guards. And Killian, he can check your best guy out there. I watched a play yesterday where he was boxing out Vucevic yesterday. You know what I'm saying? So, it's the things that a lot of people don't see out there.
Yeah.
But defensively, you can throw him on that bigger guard at times. So I get it, but we'll see how long it lasts, right?
Yeah, I mean, one thing I was thinking about, and I tried tweeting this out at someone, but I could not find. I'm sometimes bad at writing, especially on Twitter. But what I would have liked to see is I wouldn't mind seeing Killian come off the bench, because if Asar gets into foul trouble, you have a great defender in Asar already. If he gets into foul trouble, he gets tired, you can throw another dog defensively right off the bench and just continue that energy on that side. I feel like it's kind of redundant to have Asar and Killian Hayes in the starting lineup, considering the fact that both of their offense really isn't that good. I would rather have like an Alec Burke or a Jaden Ivey start alongside Cade just to provide a little bit more. I would prefer Alec Burke right now just because he is a floor spacer. And when teams do double team Cade, he has someone that's a knockdown shooter that he can find on the perimeter. But I just think, again, it's hard for me to even complain about what Monty's doing because they are 2-1 and they have been playing pretty well. But I would have rather have Killian Hayes come off the bench just for the defensive purpose. Not so much as just like the playmaking. He is good at that, but you throw Asar at, like, just for example, Zach LaVine, and then Asar comes out, who's sitting at the scores table ready to check in? Killian Hayes. And he just keeps up that defensive intensity on Zach LaVine, and they just keep switching on the best player. Like, that would be a headache, in my opinion, if you're a player coming to play against the Pistons, because as soon as you take out one good defender, you're throwing in another one at me. And I don't know. That's just what I would have liked to see, and I hope we do see it eventually with the starting lineup. But, Anthony, do you see changes coming to this starting lineup?
No, I don't.
Okay.
Here's the thing with Killian Hayes. And I think a lot of fans hate Killian Hayes. And I think if you know the context, you know why. Like, they look at the draft, like, oh, could have had Halliburton. Like, shut up. I think what Killian Hayes provides is playmaking, defense, switchability, and being able to guard 1 through 4, even 1 through 5. Like King said, he was boxing out with a 30-year-old Vucevic can literally get 20 in his sleep. I think Killian Hayes, to me, is more valuable in the starting lineup. And Monty Williams likes that versatility. Like King said, he likes those bigger guards that's able to defend and switch. Not saying that Ivy can't do that. I think he can get there. But I think for Monty to be comfortable with Ivy in the starting lineup, he's going to have to show that same level of effort on the defensive end that Killian Hayes has been showing within this first 3 games. And Lance, me and you talked about it last week. Like, we're talking about why not play Kate off ball and Ivy at the point guard? Like, I think you could do that too. Like, this team has a lot of depth. I don't think Ivy going to the bench, he's going to be there forever, even though Troy Weaver kind of comped him to Harden and OKC, which I know a lot of fans got pissed off about that this week. But hey, man, like I said, we're fans. We're not experts. We're not coaches. We're just giving our opinions. You guys may think it's different, but I think if Killian is still in your starting lineup, it's not a problem. Do I wish he could score 10 points a game? Yeah, that'd be huge. But I will take the defense over him struggling offensively with the SAR out there because, again, 101 points a game they're allowing in 2023. Like, come on, man. Like, teams are scoring like 120, 130, and these guys are holding, Miami to 103 points, Charlotte to 99 points. Like, no, like I don't need Ivy in the starting lineup right now. I think where he's at right now benefits the team more rather than him starting because nothing against him and Cade really didn't get to play together last year. I think that having Killian out there, yeah, obviously the shots aren't always going to fall, but I think defensively with him and Asar, I'm here for it. Like, I'm not going to make any changes.
But okay, do you think the Pistons holding opponents to 101 points is because of Asar and Killian Hayes defensively, or do you think it's more to do with Isaiah Stewart and then even Jalen Duren taking a leap defensively? Do you think who do you think has had the bigger impact defensively between those 4 players? Because I think Duren stepping up defensively, blocking shots, intimidating people at the rim, that has a greater effect defensively than what Killian Hayes has done. And I'm not trying to throw Killian Hayes under the bus. I mean, there are things I like about his game, and we've talked about it plenty of times on this podcast, what kind of role I would like to see him in. And I feel like the Pistons are doing that. He's playing better, not just not offensively. It's just not there yet for him. But defensively, I think it has more to do with Duren and even a lot to do with Asar more than Killian Hayes because he's flying around. He can cover so much ground. He can defend positions basically 1 through 5, it seems like. And then Isaiah Stewart, he's been staying patient defensively. But let me get back to the original question. Do you think it has more to do with Killian Hayes and Asar holding opponents to 101, or do you think it has more to do with Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren defensively?
I don't think it's an individual. I think it's team.
It's the team.
I don't think like I just don't think it's Asar, even though he's been great. Like, I want to say he's been great. Like, rookie should not be able to defend like that. I want to say that. But I think it's just the team defense. Like, if this was the Wayne Casey team, like, no one would be communicating on backdoor cuts. We'd probably be giving up like 110, 120 points a game. I think it's just the team defense and them communicating. Like, you could hear Duren, Stewart, Killian, Asar, and Kate. Man, they're yelling at each other like backdoor, backdoor. They're pointing on defense. I think it has more to do with the team, and I know that's probably not the answer you want to hear, Lance. But to me, when I'm watching them play defense through these first 3 games, it's just team defense. I don't think it's an individual where you can really say, well, that's the reason why they're the 4th best team in the NBA defensively. I think it's just team as a whole.
No, I mean, I wasn't saying necessarily like individual defense. I was saying, do you think it's more because of the perimeter defense that those 2 are playing, or just more of Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren? Isaiah Stewart's more of his switch ability, but also more of Jalen Duren's being able to redirect shots. And because, I mean, we all saw with Dwight Howard when he was in Orlando, he drastically changed the way they played defense. Like, guards were afraid to go to the paint against Dwight Howard. And I feel like Duren early on is having almost that same effect. Maybe not to the same degree that Dwight Howard was having, but I think a lot of this defense, again, it is a team effort. You both are right on that. I just think that the defense, it's been better because of the improvements from Duren and Isaiah Stewart and versus Asar Thompson and Killian Hayes. Like, again, I also think too, that the starting lineup just needs a little bit more offense because the team defense is so good. Like, it's fine if you take one of these guys out of the lineup as long as you can start hitting more shots. I would rather, because the game at the end of the day, it's still putting up more points. You can put up more points. As long as you can get a few stops during the game, you have a chance. But it's all about still putting the ball in the basket. But King, if you want to jump in, feel free at anything that we're saying.
I think you both were right, to be honest. Yeah, we used to get pounded in the paint. Guards would just go into the hole at will, when we had Dwayne Casey here. Right now, Jalen Duren is changing a lot of that. And, but it's not just him at the same time. I mean, we talked about Kyle Lowry. Well, one of Kyle Lowry's biggest problems, he had Killian in his face. You know what I'm saying? So I think on both sides, they contribute to everything. These guys, they switch, they move and rotate. You see help side defense, something that's been alienated here in Detroit for forever. But, like I said, on both sides, you just seen a jump in improvement because they're buying in and doing this thing together. Now, when it comes to guys like Jalen Duren and Isaiah Stewart, them just being a presence on both sides of the court. At the same time, they're wearing you out, rebounding the ball, putting you in the post, doing all type of things. You running through, pick and rolls and everything else. On the defensive side, it makes it a little bit easier for them. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, everything is working out for itself. When you want to throw offense in there, though, you got options to pull guys off the bench to inject some offense whenever you want to. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, the smothering defense probably is the thing. But I can totally understand where you're coming from when you're saying you need offense. Buckets win the game. But if your buckets are matching the other team's buckets, you're probably going to still lose. We've seen that a lot with the Pistons. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to stop the other guy. We got to be able to stop the other guy from scoring. That's our trademark, you know what I'm saying, with Pistons teams. So, yeah. I think everything will balance itself out.
I mean, I think this summer you had asked me what's more valuable, Asar starting or Jaden Ivey off the bench, and I told you Asar starting because there was in the fourth quarter last night against Levine, he forced so many turnovers, or he had a block shot in the corner, he had a steal when he was trailing behind him, and he turned that defense into offense. So I think that would be my answer too. I think I'm not really worried. Like, if he can develop a 3-point shot, both of him and Killian Hayes, like, that's good. That's fine. Like, I think a lot of teams, they would rather gamble on a guy that can show it all out there 48 minutes on the defensive end than maybe a guy that is an average defender that can get you 20. Like, we have that in Bojan. Like, if Bojan was in the starting lineup, are they probably the same defensive team? No, they're not. But like I said, it's a trade-off you have to kind of gamble with when you're a coach. But I think Monty has really just found a good balance between the bench and the starting unit, and I'll just leave it at that.